There are rappers alive right now who are technically elite. Flow is pristine, pen is sharp, wordplay is still there, but you press play on the new album and something feels off. Not the rapping, the music. And that feeling, that specific frustration, is something hip-hop fans have been sitting with for years. Legendary lyricists paired with production that never fully realizes where they are. I'll give you an example. AZ just dropped Do or Die 3. And in my opinion, it kind of reopened that whole conversation. The question some fans keep coming back to still hasn't been answered. Why do so many legendary rappers end up with production that doesn't bring the best out of them? And by no means is this about disrespecting legends. The bars and the beats are still there. So why does the music around them so often feel like it's not living up to either one? We're going to try to answer that today. Let's get to it. Meet me on the other side. One thing I need people to understand before we go any further, this conversation is not old rappers are washed because that's lazy. Because AZ, Nas, Black Thought, Ghostface, they could still rap their ass off. The technical ability is still there. And I think fans struggle to explain this correctly. Because people hear criticism of production and immediately they think, oh, you want trap beats. I'm like, nah, that's not what it's about at all. I'm talking about music that feels immersive. Music with texture, with transitions, momentum, with some emotion. Sometimes these legacy albums feel a little too safe, a little too static. Like the beat starts at the beginning of the song and emotionally stays in the same exact place for 2-3 minutes. Meanwhile, modern production has evolved. Even lyrical artists today understand that atmosphere matters. The beat isn't just background anymore. It helps create the experience. And that's the real issue. Not bad beats, but production that doesn't challenge the MC. That's the distinction that matters. So if legendary MCs can still rap at a high level and legendary producers can still produce at a high level, why does the music around them so often feel like it's standing still? There's actually a few reasons, and some of them have nothing to do with bad taste. I think there's a few reasons for this. The first being comfort. A lot of legendary MCs come from an era where simplicity was the aesthetic. Loop, drums, and bars. That was hip-hop. Minimalism wasn't lazy, it was intentional. Some of these artists genuinely prefer stripped-down production because they want the lyrics front and center. And honestly, I respect that. But there's a difference between minimalist and emotionally flat. That's the distinction. The second reason is budgets. This is the part that fans don't think about enough. Elite production costs money. Sample clearances cost money. Top tier producers cost money. Just because an artist is legendary culturally, it doesn't mean that labels are handing them unlimited budgets in 2026. And now a lot of these artists are operating independently. So that changes everything creatively. Third, producer accessibility. Fans, including myself, always say, why doesn't every legend just call Alchemist? Like producers are just sitting around waiting for phone calls. Relationships matter, chemistry matters, and scheduling matters. Every great rapper and producer pairing isn't automatically gonna happen just because fans want it to. And then there's the last reason, and this one might be the uncomfortable one. Some legendary rappers may genuinely believe that bars are enough. Think about what that actually means. You've been making music for 30 years. You built your reputation on the strength of your pen. Fans quote your lyrics like scripture. At a certain point, it's not arrogance. It might just be everything you know. Everything that ever worked told you the writing was the art. The beat was the canvas. And for a certain generation of hip-hop fans, maybe they're not wrong. But modern listeners experience music differently now. People want immersion, not trends, not gimmicks, just music that feels layered and emotionally alive. And I think that's where some legacy projects lose people almost immediately. Not because the rapper lost a step, not because the producer lost a step, because the world built around the bars stopped growing with them. And honestly, I think y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. So let me ask y'all directly, who's a legendary rapper you think deserve better production behind them? Drop it in the comments. But before we get into that, if these are the kinds of hip-hop conversations you enjoy, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and click that bell icon so you get notified when I upload new content. We build just like this every single week. Now back to it, because the proof of concept actually makes this whole conversation worth having. Nas and Hit Boy, that's the proof of concept. Not because Nas suddenly learned how to rap better. Nas was already Nas, and Hit Boy wasn't a new producer. He was already one of the best in the game. The difference was the chemistry between them unlocking something. The King's Disease albums felt dynamic, cinematic, focused. The beats had movement, tension, emotional progression. The production wasn't just background, it was pushing Nas somewhere, and the bars felt bigger because of it. Same energy with Black Thought and Danger Mouse on Cheat Codes. That album doesn't sound like an artist trying to stay relevant. It sounds like a legend and a world-class producer both operating at their ceiling together. And that's all fans really want. We're not asking legendary lyricists to sound 25 years old again. We're not asking legendary producers to abandon what they do best. We just want both operating at their highest level, pointed in the same direction. Because when it clicks, hip-hop still gives us magic. And if it already happened for Nas and it already happened for Black Thought and the Clips, then the question becomes, why is it still the exception and not the rule? And that's the real conversation. Not old rappers are washed, producers fell off, just this. Some of the best lyricists alive are still operating at an elite level. Some of the best producers are still operating at an elite level. So what happens when the production finally rises to meet the writing? We all know the answer. We've seen it. That's why expectations are so high. That's why fans keep having this conversation. Not out of disrespect, but because we know exactly what's possible. But now, I want to hear from you. Earlier, I asked the question, who's a legendary rapper you think deserves better production behind them? But I also want to add, who's a legendary producer you think deserves better rhymes to their beats? Let me know down in the comments. I always enjoy chopping it up with y'all down there. And if you enjoyed this one, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and click that bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload new content. And as always, if you want more conversations just like these, click right here to see more. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate y'all. Peace.